Hear it? The hush before sunrise, grass whispering around hidden paws, the wet gulp of a swamp, the dull boom of waves on rock. These aren't just sounds. They're the pulse of a world where every step has a price and every mistake has teeth. Welcome to my wild documentary, where strength slams into physics. On the savannah, a lioness weighs one last sprint against tomorrow's hunger. In the desert, a fox measures heat against an empty belly. In wetlands, crocodiles think in seasons, not seconds. Offshore, sharks read tides like a burning fuel gauge. One wrong turn, and the tank runs dry. Predators lose more than they win. Bodies built for impact are shackled by limits. Overheating, thirst, exhaustion, old scars, rivals, and the quiet pressure of waiting mouths. The real drama isn't the hit, it's the choice to spend what's left. Picture the map, a baked plain where every path collapses into one shrinking pool, reeds where every splash is a coin tossed on life or death, a slope where wind betrays or protects, a forest of broken light, a coastline where the ocean's breath lifts chances up, then rips them away. These are life's choke points, dried springs, narrow crossings, tidal flats that flip twice a day from empty to overflowing. Here, lions trade brute force for shadow, cheetahs red grass like lanes. Hyenas do distance math. Wild dogs sprint like a living relay. No monsters, no melodrama. Just the elegant tension of killers doing hard arithmetic with heartbeats. Feel the heat over the waterhole, the clay cracking under hooves and claws, the smell of fear on the wind. Ready to watch a hunter decide whether to burn everything or walk away one step from starvation. What if I told you that the cat with the strongest bite in the Americas still has to count its breaths and budget its strength? Meet the jaguar of the Pantanal wetlands and Amazonian forests, golden as late sunlight, painted with inky rosettes that often hold a dot at the center, like eyes within eyes. A blocky skull, heavy shoulders, and a tail shorter than a leopard's give it a low-slung, bulldozer look fit for waterlogged jungles and tangled riverbanks. Adorned with dense, water-shedding fur, the jaguar is sculpted for stealth in mosaic habitats of mud, reeds, and shadow. Its rosettes fracture the body's outline among dappled leaves. Amber eyes reflect torchlight with a green-gold flare. Broad feet with slightly webbed toes work like quiet paddles, and claws bite into bark and clay alike. The head is pure engineering, thick zygomatic arches, and a deep jaw that deliver a bite force-to-body size ratio unmatched among big cats, letting it punch through turtle carapaces and pierce the skulls of hefty prey. A compact torso and powerful hindquarters turn short spaces into launch ramps. Built for ambush and water, it is the rainforest's sledgehammer wrapped in velvet. By day, heat shivers off the water. By dusk, the Jaguar clocks in. It ghosts along capybara trails, slips between buttress roots, and cruises river margins where caiman bask. The hunt is close-range mathematics. Get within a couple of leaps, explode, clamp, end it fast. Preferred menu? Capybaras, caiman, peccaries, deer, turtles, and the occasional fish plucked with a paw's flick. In flood season, it swims from island to island, using floating mats of hyacinth as moving blinds. In the dry, it patrols shrinking lagoons, where prey crowds nervously. But even here, the limits are real. Sprint too long, and the cat overheats in jungle humidity. Stay submerged too deep and oxygen runs out. Pick the wrong caiman, an old black caiman the size of a canoe, and prudence beats pride. Chases are short, measured in seconds. When the numbers do not add up, wind shifts, water ripples, a capybara whistles the alarm, the Jaguar aborts. Energy, not courage, decides the day. Social life is solitary with soft edges. Adults run overlapping routes. Males' territories encompass those of several females. Females keep their distances from each other with a polite code of scratches, scent sprays, and a rasping sawing call that buzzes through vines. Courtship can happen year-round, often peaking when prey is plentiful. After roughly 3 months of gestation, a female tucks 1 to 3 cubs into a root cave or rock hollow. She is huntress and home in one body, moving dens to dodge floods, teaching cubs to crouch at the river's hem, to test current, to read wind. Cubs stay up to 2 years before shouldering their own patchwork of trails. Adults may tolerate each other at a whale-sized bounty, a dead cow, a stranded fish shoal. But truce is temporary, signed in growls and side glances. Ecologically, the jaguar is the wet forest's pressure valve, culling capybara herds, bold peccaries, and mid-sized caiman. So river margins do not turn into lawn, and lagoons do not overflow with grazers. Its kills feed a second ring of life, black vultures, caracaras, foxes, even piranhas at the leftovers. Evolution handed it amphibious talents and a crushing bite, yet threats tug at the edges. Deforestation that slices corridors into confetti, conflict with ranchers over cattle, poaching, and shifting flood pulses that rearrange the wetlands calendar. Conservation teams stitch refugees with the Jaguar Corridor Initiative, work cattle-friendly coexistence plans, and put camera traps where paw prints fade. In the end, this river shadow monarch is a symbol of restraint as much as power, a reminder that even apex predators must respect heat, breath, and the arithmetic of risk when the wild draws its hard lines. Picture a submarine with armor and a jaw like a bear trap. Then give it a timer for breath, heat, and muscle burn. Even the Nile crocodile bows to limits written in water and sun. Meet the Nile crocodile. Crocodilus niloticus, ruler of rivers, lakes, and marshes across sub-Saharan Africa and the Nile basin. Yellow, cat-like eyes, a ridged iron back of scutes, and a tail built for sudden violence turn still water into a trapdoor. Adorned in pebbled scales, reinforced with bony osteoderms, the Nile crocodile is sculpted for ambush and endurance under the surface. Big males commonly reach 3.5 to 5 meters and hundreds of kilograms. The profile is a low, wedge snout, packed with 60 to 70 conical replaceable teeth, perfect for gripping, not chewing. A muscular tail provides most of the thrust. Short, webbed feet fine-tune turns in tight channels. Eyes, ears, and nostrils ride atop the head and seal with valves, letting the crocodile breathe and listen while almost entirely submerged. A nictitating membrane shields the eyes. A palatal valve closes the throat so it can hold prey underwater without drowning itself. Along the jaws sit thousands of tiny pressure receptors that read ripples like braille, detecting the smallest splash in night-black water. As an ectotherm, it runs on borrowed heat, basking to charge, gaping to dump excess. Bursts are devastating but brief. Sprint too long and heat and lactic acid say stop. Its strength is a coiled spring, not a marathon. Most days are written in stillness. At dawn, the crocodile basks to warm its muscles, then slides into green silence, anchoring near trails where antelope drink or beneath bird roosts and fish lanes. Hunts are ambush arithmetic. Approach from downstream, rise in a whisper, then explode. One lunge, a clamp, a spin. The famous death roll is not drama. It is engineering, using torque to tear manageable portions from large prey that cannot be chewed. Diet scales with opportunity, tilapia and catfish, waterbirds, monkeys, antelope, and during the great crossings, zebras and wildebeest pulled from the chaos. At fish runs, crocodiles may loosely align to funnel schools, but it is more crowd than choir. Limits rule every choice. On land, they can gallop, but only for seconds before heat builds. Underwater, dives typically last minutes, not hours. Oxygen and acid buildup set the clock. In the hot glare of midday, they retreat to shade or deep pools. In the dry season, they hold in permanent water or burrows until rains return. When predators reach their limits, patience, not pursuit, pays the bills. Nile crocodiles are solitary hunters with a social side shaped by size and season. Dominance is mostly measured in meters. Big males claim prime basking shelves, deep pools, and ambush lanes, settling disputes with gapes, bellows, head slaps, and bubble displays that turn the surface into a drum. At carcasses, there is rough etiquette, largest first, smaller animals waiting for their moment or grabbing scraps at the edges. Breeding tracks the reins. Males court with low rumbles and chin rubs. Females choose, then lay 30 to 60 eggs in sand or mound nests above the floodline. Temperature decides sex, a narrow thermal window that mothers defend fiercely. For 80 to 90 days, she guards, fasting or feeding lightly. When hatchlings chirp from the nest, she excavates and ferries them to water, often in her jaws, forming creches watched by one or more adults. Drought and heat can compress tempers and territories. Even tyrants accept truce when the pool shrinks and the sun takes tax. As apex predators and premier scavengers, Nile crocodiles prune fish and herbivore numbers, cull the weak at river crossings, and recycle carrion into nutrients that fuel fish, birds, and microbes. Their toolkit, pressure-sensing jaw pores, amphibious lungs with long breath holds, armor that doubles as a solar panel, makes ambush efficient and cleanup swift. Limits are constant. Ectothermy caps, sprint time, oxygen budgets end dives. Drought pushes them into burrows or crowded refuges. Climate shifts skew nest temperatures and sex ratios. Fluctuating rivers drown nests or bake them dry. Human conflict at watering points, nets, and shoreline development adds pressure. Listed globally as of least concern, they are stable where wetlands, prey, and community coexistence, fencing, safe access points, regulated skin ranching are in place. The Nile crocodile is patience cast in armor, a reminder that even ancient hunters bend to heat, breath, and flood. Power lasts longest when it respects the limits written by water and sun. What happens when the ocean's top pack hunter hits a wall made of physics, breath, time, and ice? Even the orca's power bows to limits you cannot muscle through. This is the killer whale. The orca, apex of every ocean, from Antarctic pack ice to Norwegian fjords. Pacific Northwest sounds to subarctic seas. Black and white countershading, a crisp white eye patch, and a male's towering dorsal fin, up to 1.8 meters, turn a speeding submarine into a flag you can recognize at a glance. Adorned in a tuxedo built by evolution, the orca is sculpted for speed and control. Males can reach 6 to 8 meters and around 6 tons. Females are smaller, sleek athletes around 4 to 5 tons. The black mantle absorbs warmth. The bright belly blurs the silhouette from below, a magic trick called countershading. That tall dorsal fin acts like a keel, stabilizing high-speed turns. Broad tail flukes deliver explosive thrust, and a layer of blubber insulates across polar winters. Conical teeth, up to 48, are designed for gripping slippery prey, from salmon to seals. The forehead melon focuses echolocation clicks into acoustic flashlights, mapping fish schools and ice edges of the dark. Hydrodynamic skin reduces drag, but the ceiling is real. Sprinting spikes drag and burns oxygen fast. Most dives last minutes, not hours. Pressure, breath hold, and lactic acid add a timer to every chase. Heavy prey cannot always be lifted. Some meals must be shared or butchered on site. Orcas live by strategy. In Norway, fish eaters herd herring into tight spheres, slap them senseless with tail strikes, then nibble like disciplined diners. In Antarctica, seal specialists coordinate wave washes, knocking seals from ice pans with synchronized surges. Along coasts, some line up to beach safely for sea lions, then wriggle back on the next wave. Others flip sharks into tonic immobility, turning a toothy risk into a docile entree. But the calculator never sleeps. Chasing dolphins across open water can cost more energy than it pays. Adult baleen whales punch back with tails like wrecking balls. Residents hunting salmon call constantly. Mammal-eating transients go radio silent so seals do not bolt. When winds roar and swell stacks, hunts pause. Too much noise, too little control, and oxygen budgets shrink with every failed sprint. Rest comes as slow logging at the surface and unihemispheric sleep while the pod keeps a steady course. Even geniuses respect the math. Power here is family. Many populations are matrilineal, a grandmother, her grown calves, and their young form lifelong pods, speaking with dialects as distinct as accents. Post-reproductive females lead migrations to salmon runs and safe passages, wisdom you cannot download. Transient groups are smaller, quieter, and more fluid, tuned to stealthy mammal hunts. Courtship occurs between pods to avoid inbreeding. Males are mama's boys for life, roaming to mate but returning to the family. Calves arrive after 15 to 18 months of gestation, nurse up to 2 years, and learn culture by imitation, how to herd, when to call, which prey to ignore. Bonds are steel strong, but so are boundaries. Neighbor pods parry at borders with displays and sound. As apex predators, orcas reshape behavior across entire seascapes, moving seals off beaches, schooling fish tighter, and even nudging ecosystem cascades when they switch prey. Carcasses become nutrient jackpots for seabirds, sharks, and deep-sea scavengers. Cultural specialization, fish eater, mammal eater, shark taker, reduces competition but sets limits. When salmon crash, fish specialists starve with full oceans around them. Threats stack. Industrial toxins stored in blubber, dwindling salmon runs, vessel noise that blinds echolocation, entanglement, and collisions. Some populations remain relatively stable, while others, like the southern residents, are endangered. In the end, the orca is proof that intelligence wields restraint as a weapon. It embodies the sea's hard lesson. Even the strongest hunters must breathe, listen, and yield when the water writes its limits. Think you know unstoppable power? What if I told you the largest cat on Earth survives by obeying one cold rule: spend less energy than you earn? This is the Siberian tiger, also called the Amur tiger, ranging through Russia's Far East and Northeast China, from birch valleys to the snow-draped Sikote Alin. A pale orange coat with bold, widely spaced stripes and dinner plate paws turns a giant into a ghost. Adorned with a winter mantle of dense underfur and long guard hairs, the Siberian tiger is sculpted by frost. Males often reach 180 to 260 kilograms, with a body built low and long for raw leverage. The coat's paler orange, almost wheat gold in winter, and thick black striping break the outline against birch trunks and shadowed snow. Short, rounded ears reduce heat loss. A heavier fat layer insulates the torso, and whisker pads balloon with warmth like small living muffs. Its paws are broad and slightly fur-fringed, spreading weight on crusted snow like natural snowshoes, while retractable claws become ice picks when it launches. A flexible spine and shock-absorbing shoulders turn a few explosive strides into a sledgehammer strike. The skull is stout, jaws muscled for a killing bite to the nape or throat, yet even this juggernaut hits limits. That glorious coat is a portable furnace. Run too long, and heat, not cold, becomes the enemy, forcing the tiger to make every chase brutally short and brutally precise. Crepuscular by preference, opportunistic by need, the tiger writes its day as an energy ledger. It pads along frozen riverbeds, ridge spurs, and quiet logging tracks, nose-testing currents for wild boar, sika, and red deer, roe deer, sometimes badgers, raccoon dogs, even salmon in autumn shallows. The hunt is geometry in deep silence. Cut wind, use cover, close to within a few body lengths, then detonate. Most pursuits last seconds. Beyond that, the cost outweighs the meal. thigh-deep powder, it picks roots where its wide paws ride high while a deer flounders. In crusted thaw, it abandons chases that turn into wasteful sprints. Kills are dragged to cover and fed on for days, each return trip measured against hunger and risk. When prey is scarce, it scavenges, steals from its own cache only what it must, and walks on. 20 to 40 kilometers in a winter night is not unusual. The limit is constant. Overheat in a heavy pelt, squander calories in bad snow, or gamble on a boar with tusks like knives, and the math fails. So the Amur tiger chooses restraint, waiting, listening, letting cold and terrain work as silent accomplices. Solitude is the rule, but it is organized solitude. A resident male's range can blanket the ranges of 2 to 4 females, while females keep polite distance from each other, all mapped in scent. Urine sprays on birch, cheek rubs, and long vertical claw marks that read like billboards in bark. Voices travel farther in cold air, deep roars rolling through valleys to announce presence, soft chuffs and mews saved for close encounters. Courtship can happen any season, often peaking in late winter when tracks are easy to follow. After roughly 95 to 110 days of gestation, a female dens in a hollow log or rocky pocket and delivers 2 to 3 cubs. For weeks, she is ghost and milk, leaving only to hunt, then leading cubs to kills, and relocating dens to dodge curiosity and danger. Cubs shadow her for 18 to 30 months, memorizing routes, crossings, and wind, an apprenticeship where restraint is taught as carefully as the pounce. As apex predator, the Amur tiger trims boar and deer herds, easing pressure on saplings and shaping where and when prey feed, the landscape of fear that keeps forests breathing. Each kill becomes a subsidy to ravens, martens, foxes, even bears, spreading nutrients through a frozen web. Adaptations suit the lean north: a thick winter coat, broad snow-loading paws, powerful forequarters for short, decisive rushes, and a flexible diet that toggles between boar, sika, red, and roe deer, an opportunistic carrion. Limits define the strategy. Low prey density forces vast territories and careful budgeting. Overheating risk caps sprint length. Deep snow punishes waste. Threats press in, snares set for other species, logging roads that open the backcountry, and prey depletion. Protection of corridors and prey bases is the quiet technology that keeps this engine running. In a world of ice and echoes, the Siberian tiger proves that real power knows when to wait. It embodies the hard wisdom of the North. Even kings survive by respecting their limits. Imagine riding the wind like a surfer on invisible waves, then having to abort the chase because the air simply will not hold you. Even with talons like ice axes, the golden eagle still bows to physics, weather, and the arithmetic of energy. This is the golden eagle, Aquila crisatus, sweeping across the northern hemisphere, from Alaska and the Rocky Mountains to the Scottish Highlands, the Alps, and Central Asia's steppe-rimmed mountains. Dark chocolate plumage with a burnished gold nape and fully feathered legs make it a bronze-edged shadow against sky and stone. Adorned with long, broad wings that span up to 2.3 meters and slotted primaries that shear the wind, the golden eagle is sculpted for soaring. Females, larger than males, can exceed 6 kilograms, their legs feathered down to the toes like winter boots. The beak is a hooked chisel. The talons are curved daggers that clamp with crushing force, designed to pin hares or grapple foxes on steep slopes. A golden ruff glows at the nape, while the rest of the plumage reads as deep umber, shaded for cliff faces and heather. Eyes are engineered optics, high-density receptors, and a wide field of view, granting vision several times sharper than ours. A third eyelid sweeps like a clear visor at speed. Hollow bones and powerful flight muscles align for lift-to-weight efficiency, but every adaptation carries a ceiling. Thin mountain air reduces power, turbulent gusts can spoil a dive, and heavy prey cannot always be carried. Some meals must be butchered where they fall. Most days are drawn in thermals and ridge winds. The golden eagle rides updrafts along mountain spines, then slips into contour flight, skimming slopes, vanishing behind knolls, and reappearing in a sudden stoop. Hunts are ambushes from altitude or low, fast surprise attacks aimed at rabbits, hares, marmots, ground squirrels, grouse, fox kits, and sometimes young ungulates. On open plains, it quarter scans for movement. In high country, it waits for a gust, then folds into a downhill sprint at highway speeds. In winter, short days and weak lift force hard choices, fewer flights, more scavenging on carrion or wolf kill leftovers. On cold, still mornings, the air offers no elevator. Flapping across valleys burns more calories than a rabbit can repay. So the eagle holds, watches, and saves its strength. Heat waves blur distance, crosswinds twist trajectories. A last-second jink from a hare makes a stoop go wide. When predators reach their limits, restraint, not bravado, keeps them aloft. Golden eagles are mostly solitary outside breeding, but they live by lifelong partnerships. A bonded pair defends a vast territory with sky dances, soaring climbs, plunging dives, and cartwheeling displays, and a lattice of eyries perched on cliffs or old-growth trees. Nests are massive stick platforms reused and renovated for years, sometimes decades. Courtship peaks in late winter. The female lays 1 to 3 eggs, and both parents incubate for about 6 weeks. Food is the family metronome. When prey is scarce, the first hatched chick may outcompete siblings. When it is plentiful, more mouths fledge. The male often makes more deliveries. The larger female can tackle heavier prey. Fledglings leave the nest at 10 to 12 weeks, then linger, learning wind reading and stoop timing before dispersing to a floating population that waits for territory vacancies. Neighbor pair, competitors at the boundary, partners in keeping the skyline honest. As apex aerial hunters, golden eagles trim rabbit, hare, and marmot populations, which cascades down to shrubs and grasses. Their kills and winter scavenging feed ravens, foxes, and a small committee of beetles knitting alpine food webs. They are built for efficiency, slope soaring to save fuel, acute vision to avoid wasted dives, and powerful talons to finish quickly. Limits are real and rising. Lead fragments in carrion, electrocution on power poles, disturbance at nests, and collisions with turbines along ridge winds they need most. Globally, least concern, they are locally vulnerable, where these pressures stack. In the end, the golden eagle is strength perfected by patience, a symbol that even sky kings must read the wind, respect the physics, and yield when nature draws the line. Power is not endless flight. It is knowing when to wait for the next lift. Have you ever wondered how the fastest land animal can still lose the race? What if I told you that every cheetah sprint comes with a countdown timer, part speed, part heat, and all risk? Meet the cheetah of the East African savannah, a ribbon of muscle and sunlight moving along the rim of a shrinking waterhole. Black tear marks under her eyes, a long balancing tail, and a body built like a javelin. She's evolution's sprinter with a built-in rudder. Painted in warm gold and peppered with solid black spots, the cheetah wears a coat that breaks her outline in shimmering grass. Those charcoal tear lines are not just style. They help cut glare and sharpen focus in bright light. A small aerodynamic head reduces drag, while wide nasal passages gulp air like bellows. Inside, a big heart and oversized lungs stoke a furnace for explosive bursts, feeding a flexible spine that works like a spring, doubling stride length at full tilt. Long legs end in semi-retractable claws, nature's track spikes, paired with ridged pads that grip like fine-grained sandpaper. The dew claw, set slightly higher, hooks like a grappling tool when the moment to trip prey arrives. And then there is the tail, long, heavy, and ringed. It swings like a counterbalance and a steering oar, snapping left and right to match a gazelle's zigzags. Every line is sculpted by trade-offs: power without bulk, speed without armor. A Formula One chassis tuned for seconds, not marathons. Cheetahs hunt in the cool bookends of the day, when the air is kind and rivals nap. From termite mounds and low rises, they scan, measuring grass height, wind direction, and the jittery rhythms of impala or Thompson's gazelle. The approach is quiet math. Close the distance to within 60 to 100 meters, choose a target, angle the sun so glare favors the hunter, then go. The burst is breathtaking, 0 to highway speed in a few heartbeats, hips and spine snapping like a whip, claws sowing the earth. The tactic is simple: force and error. A feint left, a burst right, a hooked dew claw to trip, and a throat clamp to finish. But here is the limit. After 20 to 30 seconds, heat wins. Muscles flood with lactate. The brain says, enough, and the cheetah must downshift, panting hard with the kill exposed. That is when trouble arrives. Hyenas, lions, jackals, even vultures dropping hints. She eats fast, or not at all. On brutal days, she walks away from a meal she earned because surviving the week matters more than owning the minute. When predators reach their limits, decisions become as important as speed. Females roam alone, ranging widely with home ranges that overlap, carrying the future in spotted bundles. Cubs are moved often between hidden dens, taught with patience. The mother knocks prey off balance, then lets the little ones practice, turning lessons into lunch. Their language is soft, chirps like birds, purrs like oversized house cats, a stuttered chuff to call cubs in tall grass. Males play a different game. Brothers often form coalitions, holding territories on prime hunting ground. Together, they cooperate to bring down larger prey and defend land against rivals, a rare brotherhood in a solitary world. With lions and hyenas, avoidance is the rule. A cheetah's best fight is the one she never starts. Kleptoparasitism stings, losing a hard-won kill to heavier jaws, but staying whole for the next chance is the only winning long-term strategy. Cheetahs prune the swift, young, inattentive, or unlucky gazelles and impalas, keeping herds sharp and landscapes balanced. Their daylight hunting reduces overlap with heavier nighttime predators, spreading pressure across the clock. When they lose a carcass, nothing is wasted. Scavengers cash the check, nutrient cycles turn. The costs are real. Habitat carved by roads and fences that cut sprint lanes, conflict with livestock, snares, and a shallow genetic pool. Status: vulnerable. Where corridors, community conservancies, and predator-friendly herding coexist, the sprinter still has track to run. The cheetah is speed made fragile and brilliant, a reminder that even champions must pace themselves. She embodies the razor's edge of survival, where grace meets physics and the courage to try again matters more than any single race. Think you know endurance? Have you ever wondered how a marathon hunter runs into hard limits it cannot push past? This is the gray wolf, Canis lupus, ranging from the Arctic tundra and boreal forests to North American mountains and Eurasian steppes. Yellow-amber eyes, a frost-brushed coat, and that effortless, loping trot, like a living metronome, are its calling cards, along with a howl that can stitch a pack together across miles. Adorned with a double-layer coat, oily guard hairs over dense, insulating underfur, the gray wolf is sculpted for cold and distance. Colors vary wildly: charcoal, silver, cinnamon, even white in high latitudes, all painted by habitat and genetics. Long legs and a narrow chest cut wind. A deep rib cage and efficient lungs fuel hours of steady travel. The tail is a plume that signals mood and rank. Ears are modest, minimizing heat loss while catching whispers of hoofbeats under snow. Broad, cushioned paws splay on powder and carry tiny heat exchangers in their blood vessels, keeping toes warm without leaking precious core heat. Hair between the toes improves grip on ice, while tough pads shrug off frozen stubble and summer gravel. The skull is a toolbox, shearing carnassials, 42 teeth, and stout masseter muscles for cracking bones and sharing meals with pups. Built for the long game, the wolf's furnace has limits. Prolonged sprinting risks overheating, especially in summer, so it trades speed for strategy. A wolf's day is a ledger of calories. Crepuscular by preference, it travels at a ground-eating trot, 8 to 12 kilometers per hour, testing scent cones, reading tracks, and listening for the slip of hooves. Hunts begin with auditions. Elk, deer, moose, or caribou are probed with short rushes to reveal weakness, age, injury, deep snow fatigue. If the odds tilt right, the pack commits. If not, they shut it down. Chases are measured in bursts and angles, not hero sprints. In thigh-deep powder, wolves float while ungulates flounder. On hard crust, advantage flips. Summer heat forces nighttime hunts and shorter pursuits. Beavers, hares, and ground-nesting birds become important when large prey is risky, or pups tether the pack near rendezvous sites. When prey stands in deep water or bristles with antlers, wolves respect the line. One shattered leg is a death sentence. They cache leftovers in cool soil, scavenge winter kill, and accept that sometimes, after hours on the trail, dinner is a shrug and another mile. Wolves live by cooperation, not kings. packs are family units, a breeding pair and their offspring across several years, sometimes joined by relatives. Hierarchy is real but flexible, more about responsibilities than tyrants, with greetings, muzzle licks, tail wags, and play bow diplomacy keeping peace. Territories can span 100 to over 1,000 square kilometers, patrolled with raised leg scent marks and chorus howls that say, "Occupied." Courtship peaks late winter. After roughly 63 days, pups, blind, dark, helpless, arrive in an earthen den. Every adult becomes a courier, hunting, then returning to regurgitate meals, delivering food and lessons. By early summer, the family shifts to rendezvous sites where pups learn to pounce on grasshoppers and read the wind. Adolescents disperse at 1 to 3 years, walking astonishing distances to find vacancies and mates. Pack size expands and contracts with prey abundance, the first ecological limit written in fur. Ecologically, gray wolves are the braking system on big herbivore populations, shaping herd behavior and grazing patterns, the landscape of fear that lets saplings grow and streams breathe. Their kills feed ravens, eagles, foxes, beetles, and even the soil. Their presence can suppress mesopredators like coyotes, balancing smaller prey. Evolution gave them endurance physiology, snow-savvy feet, and a decision-making style that avoids bad bets. Limits are everywhere, hooves and antlers that injure, summer heat, lean winters, and us, roads, snares, poisons, and conflict with livestock. Globally, least concern. Locally threatened in places, wolves endure where corridors, prey, and coexistence tools, flaidry, guard dogs, range riders are in place. In the end, the gray wolf is power with a pause button, a symbol that survival favors patience and teamwork. It reminds us that even elite hunters must honor heat, hoof, and hunger when the wild draws its hard boundaries. Have you ever wondered how the world's mightiest hunters run out of road? Meet the polar bear of the Arctic Ocean, Svalbard to the Beaufort Sea, Hudson Bay to the Chukchi Sea, wearing a coat that looks like snow and hides a secret. Each hair is hollow and transparent, and the skin beneath is black, a solar panel in a land of low-angle light. A head like a submarine's bow, a long neck, and paws the size of dinner plates turn sea ice into a highway built for one. Adorned with a mantle of dense underfur and oily guard hairs, the polar bear is sculpted by wind and water. Up to 10 centimeters of blubber armor the torso, while small ears and a tapered tail reduce heat loss. Those 30-centimeter paws are snowshoes and paddles, rimmed with tiny traction bumps for grip on glassy ice. Countercurrent heat exchangers in the limbs keep the core warm when feet are standing in slush. A male can reach 350 to 700 kilograms, a female about half that, but both move with surprising silence, white thunder on mute. Their noses can detect a seal's breath or birth lair from hundreds of meters away, even through snow. Built to dominate a frozen sea, they carry a hidden limit: too much heat. Run too far, too fast, and a polar bear risks overheating, even at sub-zero temperatures. Their daily ledger is written in energy, not hours. Most hunts are still hunts at seal breathing holes or slow-motion stalks to seals hauled out on drift ice. The strategy is minimalist: wait, explode, end it quickly. Success peaks in late winter and spring, when ringed and bearded seals are pupping. The bears cash blubber like a bank account to pay for months ahead. In summer, as sea ice retracts beyond the continental shelf, the map melts, and so do options. Bears ride shrinking floes, swim mile after mile between rafts of ice, or come ashore to fast, nibbling kelp, plucking bird eggs, or scavenging whale carcasses when they are lucky. A 500-kilogram sprinter becomes a marathon swimmer, losing weight with every stroke. They pace their bodies like accountants: fewer chases, fewer mistakes, less heat. Even the act of running has a ceiling, short bursts only, or the bear burns more calories than the meal will repay. When predators reach their limits, patience becomes a hunting tool. Social life here is solitude, with exceptions. Adults avoid each other unless it is mating season in spring, when males shadow females' tracks over kilometers of ice, engaging in brief, bruising contests for the right to court. Dominance shows at carcasses with posture and low growls, but there is also Arctic etiquette, nose-to-nose greetings that ask politely to share. Pregnant females dig snow dens in autumn, crawl inside, and fast for months, giving birth to 1 to 2 tiny cubs midwinter. She warms, nurses, and cleans them in a room made of breath until March or April. The family emerges to a world in flux, and for 2 to 3 years, the mother is a living map, teaching flow edges, wind direction, and what not to chase. Males are lone monarchs. Females are endurance athletes with cubs in tow. Ecologically, polar bears are the apex valve on seal populations, keeping the system from becoming blubber-rich and balance-poor. Their leftovers feed Arctic foxes, gulls, ravens, and even other bears, shuttling marine nutrients onto tundra. Evolution gave them a fasting-friendly metabolism that spares muscle and recycles nitrogen during lean spells. But the bills are coming due. Shrinking ice seasons, longer swims, more time on land where food is scarce. Toxins ride the food chain into their fat. Conflict rises near settlements. The International Union for Conservation of Nature lists them as vulnerable, with some subpopulations stable and others declining. In the end, this white titan is a symbol of power measured not just in strength, but restraint. A reminder that even apex predators have limits, and the line between mastery and survival is drawn, quite literally, in ice. Imagine a hunter that can topple a deer with a single lunge, then has to park in the shade because the sun might cook it from the inside. Even the Komodo dragon answers to heat, distance, and the hard math of energy. This is the Komodo dragon, Varanus komodoensis, ruler of Indonesia's Komodo, Rinca, Flores, Gili Motang, and Gili Dasami. A living relic painted in earth-brown armor and powered by a flicking, forked tongue that reads the wind like a book. Adorned with pebbled scales, armored by tiny bone plates called osteoderms, the Komodo dragon is sculpted for rugged islands and rough meals. Males can top 2.5 to 3 meters and over 70 kilograms. With stout limbs, a barrel chest, and a long muscular tail that works as counterweight and whip. The skull is low and strong. Inside the jaws sit recurved, serrated teeth, steak knives designed to slice. Salivary glands deliver a complex venom cocktail that promotes bleeding and lowers blood pressure, turning big bites into bigger problems for prey. It is chemistry, not dirty bacteria, that does the heavy lifting. The tongue is a golden dipstick for scent, feeding air samples to a sensitive Jacobson's organ. Eyes see well by day. The nostrils and ears are modest but functional. As an ectotherm, it runs on borrowed heat, basking to power up, then moving with measured purpose. Sprint too long in island humidity, and the dragon overheats, so it saves the fireworks for a few decisive seconds. Mornings begin on a warm rock, then a slow patrol of game trails, scrub edges, and water holes. The Komodo dragon is a patient ambusher, parking near shade lines and windward paths where rusa deer, feral pigs, goats, and macaques pass. One good angle, a short charge, a slashing bite, and the job is half done. If the prey bolts, venom, and blood loss finish the work, the dragon tracks by nose, tongue tasting a fading wake of hemoglobin on the breeze. It also scavenges with gusto, homing in on carrion from kilometers away, goat, deer, even stranded whales. Meals are unceremonious engineering. Powerful neck muscles shake and tear. A hinged jaw and expandable throat help swallow huge chunks. A lubricating flood of saliva keeps the conveyor belt moving. On hot afternoons, activity dips into siestas beneath shrubs or in burrows. Evenings may bring another patrol. Limits are constant. Long pursuits burn too many calories. Water buffalo can fight back with horns and hooves, and a bad midday sprint can turn a hunter into a heat casualty. So the dragon chooses patience, shade, and ambush over glory runs. By nature, Komodo dragons are solitary, but carcasses create pop-up societies with strict etiquette. Dominance is body size first, attitude second. Head bobs, tail lashes, hissing, and gape displays settle most disputes before teeth get involved. Males in breeding season wrestle upright, grappling like scaly sumo until one is flipped. Females lay clutches, often 15 to 25 eggs, in deep burrows or in the warm mounds of megapode birds, sometimes crafting decoy nests and guarding the real one for weeks. Incubation lasts around 7 to 8 months. Hatchlings burst into a world where most adult dragons see them as snacks. Survival Strategy 1. Climb. Juveniles live arboreally for their first year or two, eating insects, geckos, and small birds, and sometimes wear a foul cologne, rolling in carrion or feces to discourage cannibalism. They descend as their mass and confidence grow. Rarely, females can reproduce without males. Parthenogenesis, insurance in an island lottery where mates may be scarce. Apex on their islands, Komodo dragons keep deer and pig numbers in check and clear carrion that would otherwise fester, recycling nutrients into the scrub and savanna. Their toolkit, venom, serrated teeth, heat-savvy pacing, and a nose that finds tomorrow's meal today, maximizes returns in a hot, seasonal landscape. Yet hard limits close in. Tiny ranges hemmed by sea, rising temperatures and sea levels that squeeze habitat, shrinking prey bases, and conflict around villages. Now listed as endangered, their future leans on protected areas, careful tourism, and coexistence with communities who share their dry forests. The Komodo dragon is raw power refined into patience, a reminder that even island kings must bow to heat, distance, and risk. Mastery here is not endless chase. It is knowing when to wait in the shade and let the wild's limits work for you. Think you know versatility? What if I told you the cat that can hunt anywhere still lives by hard limits, heat, gravity, and thieves bigger than itself? Meet the leopard, ranging from African savannas and thorn scrub to Indian teak forests and Arabian mountains. Painted in golden yellow and ink black rosettes, with a tail like a tightrope walker's pole, it is a shape-shifter built to disappear and then reappear exactly where dinner is not expecting it. Adorned with a dense, close-lying coat, the leopard is sculpted by ambush. Those rosettes, open circles of black around a dusky center, shatter its outline under dappled leaves and moonlit grass. Males often weigh 60 to 90 kilograms, females 30 to 60, all compact power. The shoulders are heavy, the neck thick, winch and crane gear for hoisting antelope into trees. Broad, cushioned paws whisper over bark and stone, while long, retractable claws and a hooked dew claw work like climbing pitons and grapnels on prey. The tail, nearly as long as the body, swings balance across swaying branches and broken kopjes. Night is its ally. Forward-facing amber eyes backed by a reflective tapetum catch starlight. Whiskers red air like braille. In rainforests, melanistic black panthers melt into shadow. In drylands, coats pale to straw. It is elegance designed for stealth, yet every adaptation is a trade. Sprint too far, and heat blooms under that fur. Fight the wrong rival, and the insurance bill is your life. Most days are written in patience. Crepuscular and nocturnal by choice, the leopard threads game trails, river margins, and the high roads of branches. Hunts are short stories with sharp endings. Stalk to within a few bounds, explode, clamp the throat, or crush the nape. Menu options are a buffet: impala, bushbuck, duiker, monkeys, dassies, hares, porcupines, birds, even fish and beetles when needed. It swims if it must, climbs because it can, and caches because it has to. Lions and hyenas run a ruthless tax department, so the leopard pays in muscle, dragging carcasses skyward, turning a tree into a private dining room. Chases are measured in seconds. Beyond that, the math flips. Too much heat, too many calories burned. In midday furnace, it sprawls across shaded limbs, belly to bark, letting the breeze do the cooling. The limit is not courage, it is chemistry. Social life is solitary with a gentleman's agreement. A male's territory may overlap the ranges of several females. Females avoid each other with a code of scent, scrapes, and the saw-like rasp of their call. Meetings are brief, courtship in any season when conditions smile. After roughly 100 days of gestation, a female tucks 2 to 3 cubs into a cave, thicket, or hollow log. She is hunter, porter, and bodyguard, moving dens often to dodge discovery by hyenas, lions, or other leopards. Cubs trail her for up to 2 years, learning routes, wind discipline, and the art of elevators made of trees. Adolescents drift at the edges until a vacancy opens. Trespass is costly, and scars are the rent receipts. Ecologically, the leopard is the system's pressure valve, trimming medium-sized herbivores and reshaping where and when prey feed. Its leftovers seed the food web. Vultures, jackals, civets, even beetles queue up. Evolution gave it hyperflexibility, prey switching across habitats, arboreal caching to dodge kleptoparasites, and camouflage that works in shadow or straw. But limits tighten, habitats sliced by roads, snares set for bushmeat, conflict over livestock, and persecution near towns where leopards slip through like rumors. The species is globally listed as vulnerable, with strongholds and silent absences side by side. In the end, the leopard is a symbol of poise under pressure, a reminder that mastery is not endless force, but knowing when to vanish, when to climb, and when to walk away when the wild draws its line. Endurance looks invincible until the sun turns the world into an oven and the grass hides an ambush you cannot outrun. Even the best marathon hunters hit walls made of heat, distance, and thieves bigger than themselves. Meet the African wild dog, Lycaon pictus, the painted wolf of sub-Saharan savannas, woodlands, and floodplains. A collage of black, gold, and white patches and those satellite dish ears make it unmistakable, and the white-tipped tail is a moving flag in tall grass. Adorned in mottled paint-splash fur, no two wild dogs look alike, a living code for pack identity. Built like a distance runner, it carries a narrow chest, long legs, and a light frame that trades brute force for stamina. Each foot has only 4 toes, no dew claws, optimizing stride efficiency over uneven ground. Those oversized rounded ears are radiators and antennas, dumping heat and catching whispers of hoofbeats and pack mate chirps. A tough, elastic skin resists tears in tight chases. Lean muscles and a big heart-lung engine fuel steady lopes at 8 to 12 kilometers per hour and bursts over 60 kilometers per hour when it counts. Vision is keen, smell is excellent, but the real superpower is thermoregulation plus teamwork, panting, ear cooling, and short sprints stitched into long pursuits. Still, physics writes a ceiling. Run too hard in midday and they overheat. Push beyond oxygen budgets and lactic acid steals their legs. Their design is for efficiency, not endless sprinting. Most hunts begin at dawn or dusk with a rally. Squeaky twitters, muzzle kisses, tails helicoptering, sometimes punctuated by sneeze votes where enough snorts mean, "Let us go." The pack fans out at a ground-eating trot, reading wind and tracks, testing herds of impala, gazelles, or kudu calves. Strategy is fluid. One team pressures, another flanks, then roles switch, relay hunting that turns distance into a net. When a target stumbles, several dogs move in, ending it quickly and cleanly. Success rates run high compared to many predators, but the clock is always ticking. Rising heat shortens chases, thorn thickets break momentum, and hyenas or lions can arrive like a tax collector. After the kill, they feed fast, then move off, often returning with meat for pups or injured pack mates by an elegant solution, regurgitation deliveries straight to waiting mouths. Midday brings shade and panting rest, Waterholes invite quick drinks and a scan for trouble. In flood seasons, they detour along channels, keeping feet cool and scent cones honest. When predators reach their limits, they do what wild dogs do best: pause, regroup, and hunt smart, not hard. Family is everything. Packs are usually anchored by a dominant breeding pair, but hierarchy here is more choreography than tyranny. Pups eat first at kills, a social contract signed in meat. Adults babysit, guard dens, and bring meals home for nursing females and the old or injured. Breeding peaks in the dry season. Females whelp large litters, often 6 to 16, in old aardvark burrows or dugout dens. For weeks, the pack is tethered to pups. Hunters rotate guard duty. Communication runs on high-pitched twitters, greeting whines, and the haunting long-distance who call to reunite stragglers. Females tend to disperse to join neighboring coalitions. Males are more likely to stay with birthplace brothers, seeding stability. Pack size flexes with prey and pressure, too small, and they struggle to hold kills or raise pups. Too large and mouths outrun the menu. The limit shows up as arithmetic, not bravado. As apex coursers, African wild dogs prune medium-sized antelope and shape when and where herds graze, the landscape of fear that lets seedlings and stream edges recover. Their quick, clean kills mean less waste. Leftovers feed vultures, jackals, hyenas, beetles, and soil. Adaptations, heat-dumping ears, long-distance gait, cooperative relay tactics, and sneeze consensus turn savannas into playing fields they can read. But hard limits crowd in. Lions and hyenas steal meals and kill adults or pups. Wire snares and roads slice roots. Diseases like distemper and rabies spill from unvaccinated dogs. Fences turn migrations into dead ends. With only a few thousand left and a fraction of those mature, they are listed as endangered, surviving where corridors, vaccination buffers, and coexistence with herders hold. The African wild dog is teamwork made visible, a symbol that strength multiplies when you know your limits and your family's needs. In a hot, hungry world, they remind us that the smartest chase is the one you can finish together. Picture a torpedo with teeth that must keep swimming just to breathe, and still has to abort the chase when physics and lactic acid say no. Even the great white meets a hard ceiling. This is the great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, ranging across temperate seas from South Africa and Australia to California, Mexico's Guadalupe, and the Mediterranean. Slate gray back, glacier white belly, a conical snout, and a crescent tail turn raw power into streamlined intent. adorned in counter shading, dark above and light below, the great white is sculpted to vanish in two directions at once. Females often grow larger than males, with giants reaching 5 to 6 meters. The body is a hydrodynamic bullet, a cartilaginous skeleton for flex and lightness, massive red muscle tied to a heat exchange network, the rete mirabile, that keeps core temperatures several degrees above seawater for athletic bursts, and a vast oil-rich liver that adds buoyancy in place of a swim bladder. Serrated, triangular teeth are replaceable conveyor belts, perfect for gripping blubber and sawing through bone. Pectoral fins act like airplane wings. The high crescent tail is an afterburner. Sensory arrays are extreme. Keen smell, superb low-frequency hearing, sharp vision, and the ampullae of Lorenzini. Tiny gel-filled pores that read the faint electricity of a heartbeat hidden beneath surf. But each adaptation has limits. As an obligate ram ventilator, the white must swim to breathe. Sustained sprinting spikes drag and burns oxygen, piling up acid in muscle. Eyes lack protective lids, so during strikes they roll back, a built-in airbag for risky tackles. Great whites live by ambush math. Near seal rookeries, they cruise the gloomy attack zone, then rocket upward from below, sometimes breaching clean out of the water, one violent burst to end it fast. Dawn and dusk are favored. Bright, clear noons give prey too much warning. Where pinnipeds are scarce, they switch gears, shadowing tuna and rays or scavenging whale carcasses that perfume the sea for miles. Many individuals commute seasonally. Along California and Mexico, sharks vanish to a mid-Pacific gathering ground, nicknamed the White Shark Cafe, riding vertical yo-yo dives that may mix feeding with courtship. Off South Africa, they patrol islands in winter and disperse when conditions shift. Still, the calculator never sleeps. A full-grown elephant seal fights like a battering ram. One bad angle, and the shark risks broken teeth or worse. In rough seas, with bubbles and glare, missed strikes rise. Long chases are rare. The first 5 to 10 seconds decide it. If a seal sees the dark backplate or the approach angle is wrong, the shark peels off. Energy, not bravado, calls the shot. Solitary by default, great whites form loose, temporary gatherings at rich sites, seal colonies, tuna runs, whale falls, governed by quiet etiquette. Size and sex set the pecking order. Large females outrank smaller males. Older sharks get priority at the buffet. Body language, parallel swimming, slow rolls to display girth, open mouth gapes, diffuses conflict. Most disputes end with a nudge, not a bite. Courtship is rarely witnessed. But reproduction is a placental viviparity. Embryos develop inside the mother, nourished in part by unfertilized eggs, a strategy called oophagy. Litters are small, pups big and toothy from birth, and there is no parental care. Nursery areas in warm shallows give youngsters a fighting chance. Limits arrive from above in the food chain, too. When orcas show up, great whites sometimes abandon entire coasts for weeks or months, yielding to a rival that can outmaneuver and outthink them. As apex predators, great whites shape behavior and numbers of seals, sea lions, and large fish, creating a seascape of fear that prevents overgrazing of coastal food webs. Their scavenging moves nutrients from whale carcasses through a crowd of followers, sharks, fish, birds, and deep-sea scavengers. Regional endothermy gives them reach into cooler waters. Sensory superpowers reduce wasted efforts. Yet limits and threats accumulate: depleted prey, accidental capture in fishing gear, illegal killing, entanglement, and toxins that build up in long-lived bodies. Protected in many nations, they are globally listed as vulnerable, with some populations stable and others in decline. In the end, the great white is proof that mastery is measured by restraint. Even the ocean's most feared hunter survives by reading the light, the angles, and the hard limits etched into water and muscle. A shadow slips between pines, all muscle and silence, then stops, because even the perfect ambush needs cool air, cover, and a short sprint. The mountain lion wins by knowing where its limits are. Meet the mountain lion, also called cougar, puma, or catamount, spanning the Americas from Canadian forests to Patagonian steppe. Tawny like sunlit grass with a black-tipped tail and round radar dish ears, it is a ghost that leaves only paw prints and a low hiss of breath. Adorned in a short, tawny coat that fades to creamy underparts, the mountain lion is sculpted for stealth and spring-loaded power. Males commonly weigh 55 to 90 kilograms. Females, 30 to 60, compact athletes with long hind legs and a flexible spine that snaps them forward in coiled bursts. The head is small and streamlined, jaws pack shearing carnassials, and a grip that clamps windpipes fast. Long tail, up to a third of body length, works like a gyroscope on cliff ledges and sharp turns, its tip inked black like a punctuation mark. Large cushioned paws spread on dust, snow, or scree, and a hooked dew claw acts as a raptor talon, anchoring into a deer's flank during the tackle. Forward-facing eyes and a reflective tapetum boost low light vision. Whiskers red brush like fingertips. Capable of short top speeds over 40 miles per hour and leaps of several meters, this cat is built for seconds, not minutes. That is the trade. Run too far, overheat, fight the wrong hooves, break a rib, hunt in open sun, and the camouflage fails. Precision beats bravado. Crepuscular by preference and nocturnal around people, the cougar writes its day in quiet routes, ridge trails, creek bottoms, deer paths. The hunt is geometry and wind. Approach from downwind. Use cover. Close to within a few body lengths, then detonate. Primary prey are deer, mule, white-tailed, black-tailed, plus elk calves, bighorn lambs, guanacos in the south, and smaller fare when needed, hares, porcupines, even the odd turkey. A kill ends with a throat or muzzle clamp. Then comes logistics. The cat drags the carcass into cover, caches it under leaves, grass, or snow, and feeds for days, returning mostly at night. In deep snow, it picks roots where its big paws float and deer flounder. In heat, it hunts the cool edges of dusk and dawn, and beds in shade through the furnace hours. Every decision respects limits. Long chases burn more calories than a deer can repay. Elk and moose can injure with one kick. Wolves and bears might steal the prize. And open ground turns a stalk into a sprint it cannot afford. So it chooses the ambush with the best odds and walks away when the math is wrong. Solitary by design, mountain lions weave overlapping maps without meetings. A resident male's territory can overlay those of several females. Females try not to overlap each other. The bulletin board is scent, scrapes, urine, scat placed along travel corridors. Conversations include caterwaul screams in breeding season and soft chirps between mother and kittens. After a 2 to 3 month gestation, a female tucks 2 to 4 spotted kittens into a den, cave, windfall, thicket. She hunts, returns, grooms, and relocates the family often to dodge noses and teeth. Kittens start on meat by 6 to 8 weeks, trailing her to caches, learning wind discipline and where deer cross fences. By 12 to 24 months, they disperse. Young males may travel astonishing distances to find vacancies, facing roads, rival cats, wolves, and bad luck. Where wolves are strong, cougars hunt thicker cover. Where bears are common, they cache deeper and eat faster. Flexibility is survival. Restraint is policy. As apex ambushers, cougars trim deer herds and shift where and when ungulates feed, easing pressure on saplings and streamside plants. Their kills feed a cleanup crew, bears, coyotes, foxes, eagles, condors, beetles, spreading nutrients through forests and deserts. Adaptations favor efficiency, short, explosive hunts, caching to stretch calories, and time-of-day tactics that avoid heat. Limits and threats are real. Habitat fragmentation, vehicle strikes, conflict over livestock, hound pursuit where legal, and competition with wolves or jaguars. Globally of least concern but locally vulnerable in places, they persist where corridors, prey, and coexistence tools exist. In the end, the mountain lion is power edited by patience, a reminder that mastery is not endless chase, but choosing the right moment, the right angle, and knowing when to fade back into the trees when the wild draws its hard line. Did you know that the savannah's most successful hunter might be the one most people call a scavenger? Think you know hyenas? Wait until you see how they budget every heartbeat. Meet the spotted hyena of the East African grasslands, working the edges of a drying waterhole, sloped shoulders, a thick neck, and that wide, bone-crushing grin. She's built for the long game. Painted in smoky tan and ink-dark spots, the spotted hyena looks like it was sketched in haste and reinforced with steel. Front legs are longer than the back, giving a powerful, forward-leaning profile and a rolling gait that conserves energy over distance. A dense mane traces the ridge of the neck, and rounded radar dish ears drink in sound. Inside that blocky skull sits a jaw engine few can rival, crushing power around 1,100 psi drives, specialized premolars that turn bones to chalk. Even the stomach is sculpted by evolution. Highly acidic, it dissolves hooves, skin, and calcium, reclaiming nutrients others leave behind. Females, the larger sex, carry more muscle and endurance, and their robust shoulders hoist heavy loads over long patrols. Thick pads and splayed toes grip mud and dust alike, while generous lungs and a big heart feed an economy run. Less sprint, more steady profit. Nothing here wastes energy. Every line and lever says, outlast them. Hyenas do their best work in the cool margins, dawn, dusk, and night. At a slow, tireless lope, they can cover 30 to 50 kilometers in a shift, testing wind, reading tracks, listening for panic. They hunt more than they scavenge, targeting wildebeest calves, zebra foals, and impala, switching from stealth to pursuit the moment a mistake appears. No dramatic pounce, just relentless pressure, a metronome of endurance that turns speedsters into stumblers. At the waterhole, they circle wide, sampling the breeze, mapping mud like a chessboard. Where will hooves bog down? Where will fear choose the wrong exit? Midday, they concede to heat, retreating to shade or burrows, panting efficiently, while the sun taxes everyone equally. Communication is their superpower. That eerie whoop can carry for kilometers, assembling help or broadcasting ownership. Scent pasting on grass. Stems leave sticky notes for clanmates. Soft growls and giggles. Yes, the laugh. Thread strategy in real time. Spotted hyenas live in matriarchal clans, sometimes 30 or more strong, ruled by a dominant female whose daughters inherit rank. Females are larger, bolder, and lead hunts. Males often disperse to seek their fortunes elsewhere. Greetings are formal and unmistakable, tail high, ritualized inspections that confirm identity and status. Cubs are born at a communal den, dark-furred and wide-eyed, already armed with tiny teeth. High-ranking mothers nurse more and longer, and their young rise faster through the social queue. Cooperative? Yes, but with politics. Allies matter, kinship matters more. With lions, it's rivalry written in claw marks. Sometimes hyenas bully pride. Females offer kill through numbers and nerve. Other times, lions smash the line and everyone scatters. Survival is a series of negotiations, and hyenas are fluent. As both hunters and cleanup crew, hyenas keep the savannah's books balanced. They curb herbivore numbers, and when the hunt is over, they vacuum the leftovers, bones included, cycling calcium and phosphorus back into soil. Their patience opens carcasses others can't, benefiting vultures and jackals. In turn, those flyers act as aerial scouts. Keen noses, oversized auditory bullae for fine-tuned hearing, and marathon metabolisms let them work through heat and hunger better than most. Threats, persecution, poisoning near livestock, snares, shrinking ranges. Officially least concern, but locally pressured, and too often misjudged by reputation rather than reality. In a world where power often looks like speed, the hyena is a reminder that stamina is its own kind of strength, a symbol of gritty intelligence, thriving where limits are the rule, not the exception. Think you know about stealth? Meet the master who turns mountains into a cloak. This is the snow leopard of Central Asia's high ranges, the Himalayas, Karakoram, Pamirs, and Tian Shan. Wearing a mist-gray coat freckled with charcoal rosettes and a tail so long and plush, it looks like a luxury scarf designed by evolution. Adorned with dense, smoky fur up to 5 centimeters thick, the snow leopard is sculpted for cold and thin air. Its pale green eyes scan ridgelines. Small rounded ears minimize heat loss, and an enlarged nasal cavity warms and humidifies freezing breaths at 3,000 to 5,500 meters. Muscular hind legs, longer than the forelegs, give it the spring of a coiled steel trap, launching it across 9 to 15 meters in a single bound. Mountain parkour with paws. Those paws are broad and fur-lined, acting like built-in snowshoes, spreading weight over crusted drifts. The tail, nearly as long as its body, works as a counterbalance on knife-edge ledges and on bitter nights curls across the face like a woolen wrap. Painted by nature in broken stone and cloud, it can simply dissolve into the landscape by standing still. Mostly crepuscular and nocturnal, a snow leopard's day is a quiet ledger of energy. It ghosts along wind-scoured saddles, patrols familiar goat tracks, and waits at choke points where prey funnels between cliffs. It favors Barrel, also called blue sheep and Siberian ibex, but will take marmots, pikas, hares, and when hunger bites, livestock, one of its oldest conflicts with us. A typical hunt is pure patience, a high vantage, a measured stalk, then a downhill ambush that turns gravity into an ally. When a kill is made, the cat caches it in shade and returns for days, feeding carefully, watching constantly. As seasons turn, it follows prey up to summer pastures and back down to winter valleys, a quiet migration stitched to the pulse of the mountains. Social life here is the art of being alone. Snow leopards are solitary, their ranges vast, males overlapping the territories of several females, females keeping distance from one another. They converse in a language of scrapes, scent marks, and rock rub billboards. They cannot roar like their big cat cousins, but they do chuff, yowl, and mew, soft speech for hard places. Mating peaks in late winter. After about 90 to 100 days, a female tucks 1 to 3 cubs into a rocky den lined with fur. She is the cubs' mountain, hunting, nursing, and teaching them the map of ledges and wind. By 18 to 22 months, the youngsters disperse, carrying their mother's roots in muscle memory and paw pads. Ecologically, the snow leopard is the alpine keystone, pruning ibex and blue sheep so meadows are not nibbled to dust. Its leftovers feed foxes, vultures, crows, and an entire cleanup crew of highland scavengers. Every trait is an alpine adaptation: oxygen-thrifty metabolism, insulating fur, shock-absorbing limbs. Yet threats press in: poaching for pelts and bones, retaliatory killings after livestock losses, and climate change nudging tree lines upward, shrinking open hunting grounds. Classified as vulnerable, perhaps 4,000 to 6,500 remain. Community corrals, insurance schemes, and camera trap corridors are the lines of hope we are stitching across these ranges. Elusive, ethereal, the snow leopard is the mountain's quiet heartbeat, a symbol of resilience and a reminder that some of Earth's greatest stories whisper instead of roar. The air tastes of heat and dust. The river ahead flexes through stone, brown and fast. On one bank, thousands of wildebeest crowd the edge. On the other, green waits. They hesitate, then surge. Water explodes with hooves and fear as zebras follow, stripes dissolving into spray. A crocodile blinks awake, then another. They slide forward, silent avalanches. Up the slope, a lioness waits beneath a thorn tree, patient, conserving energy for one clean strike. Chaos fills the river. A zebra vanishes in white water. A wildebeest stumbles between rocks. The lioness descends, 10 strides, 15, but her target veers. She halts, panting. One wrong sprint means hunger later. A calf is swept toward calmer water. A croc lunges, misses, and sinks again. Even predators budget their breath. Hyenas appear, cautious and calculating, trotting the thin line between danger and dinner. The crossing peaks. Wildebeest leap from the bank. Some fall, others fight the current. Vultures circle above, ledger keepers of the savannah. The lioness strikes at a spent calf. Quick, clean, enough. Downriver, a croc wrestles a zebra under, wins his air back, and anchors the carcass below. Most of the herd makes it. The far bank quivers with the noise of survival. By evening, dust fades. The lioness dozes near her kill. Crocodiles rest like punctuation in the shallows. The savannah exhales. Life flowing on, as it always has. Heat, breath, and the quiet math of survival. The savannah settles, the mountains exhale, and the sea turns its slow blue page. After all the chases and narrow escapes, one truth sticks. Power survives by picking its moments. We watched kings pause. A lioness stopped one stride short of heat stroke and waited for a better angle. A Nile crocodile rolled once, then rose for air because breath beats bravado. A golden eagle circled until the wind finally said, yes. A snow leopard spent energy like a miser in thin air. A polar bear paced its hunts to match a vanishing map of ice. Jaguars did ambush math in flooded forests. Leopards took dinner into trees to dodge thieves. Mountain lions cached and returned by moonlight. Wolves called off the marathon when hooves had the upper hand. Out at sea, an orca read the noise and the tide. A great white peeled away when the angle was wrong. A Komodo dragon chose shade over a glory sprint. Limits aren't weaknesses, they're the grammar of survival. Heat, breath, distance, risk, and simple physics knit predators to prey, water to grass, wind to wing beats. When animals honor those lines, entire ecosystems hold. We draw lines too. Some crowd the wild, roads, nets, poisons, noise. Others give it room, wildlife corridors, clean rivers, lead-free landscapes, marine sanctuaries, coexistence on ranches and coasts. Our choices decide whether patience still pays for those who live by it. If this journey made you feel the hum inside the hunt, the hush before a leap, the pause after a miss, tap subscribe. Like the video and share it with someone who thinks strength never needs to stop. Tell us in the comments, Which moment hit hardest, and which limit surprised you? Where in the world are you watching from? And what animal should we explore next? Nature isn't a constant sprint. It's a heartbeat counting with tide and wind. When predators reach their limits, life finds its rhythm. And if we step lightly, that rhythm goes on. Old as mountains, patient as rivers, and bright as the first breath after the chase.